Greetings. Welcome, goddesses. We're going to talk about the March astrology. But first, we dance.
Great Mother Ocean, bless us with your sweetness, bless us with your power. We honor you, my faithful nation. Goddess of sweet waters, my faithful nation.
Methodical notion.
Goddess of abundance, goddess of love. We all love you, ocean. Blessed with your boom.
I hope y'all love this.
My faithful notion. All the praise to worship. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Woo, sorry. Take it down, nice and easy. Hello, goddesses. How are you doing? I am Tyra Omilada, your goddess guru, your sister friend, and I love helping women align with their life purpose using the power of ancient wisdom and the goddess-centered lifestyle. Just here lately, me and Orisha music, me and the goddesses. Give me more of this music. Welcome to March 2026. And wowzers, this has been an incredible, incredible year. And we're just at the beginning of March. So I do want to do a little bit of a recap with you all. So what we're going to do is I am going to share. Just one moment. Oh, I thought I had paused it. Hold on. Okay. So I just wanted to do a really quick recap of the astrology that we have lived through thus far, because I need you to understand how incredible you are. This has been, wow. This has been one for the books, as I typically say. So in January, we did have that new moon in Capricorn, but the thing that happened in January was we had all of these planets meeting in Capricorn. Okay, that was at the beginning of January. Let's see here. One moment. So we had a lot of planets meeting right at about the 14th degree. It was somewhere between like 14, 16, 17 degrees of Capricorn. And then we also had the planets, especially as we were leaving out of January going into February, we had all of those planets meeting in Aquarius, and they all met Pluto. This energy has been intense. It's been a lot of energy of new beginnings, activation. You know, you got to get up, you got to get going, you got to get some things done. A lot of it is also a bit reflective of what's happening in governments, what's happening in the collective, and just this major transformation that is that the entire world is under. And so if you are alive at this time, it is like you really and truly are amazing. And I'm saying this really since 2020. If people who are alive any of these years, we will be read about in history books for a very long time because it is such a pivotal time. And then we go into February, and we had Saturn move into Aries. We had the new moon eclipse in Aquarius. We had Saturn meet Neptune. They were on the exact same degree. And so we had Saturn meet Neptune. And oh, and then Mercury retrograde began. So this is not like easy astrology. This is not the kind of astrology where it's like, well, you know what, this is just, like sometimes when I do readings for people, it's just like, well, some months you're just going to have more challenging transits than the more harmonious transits. Other months, it'll be your turn to have a lot of harmonious transits and very few challenging. It's just how it is. That's not what this is. I will say, astrology is going to be what it is throughout the years. It's just sometimes it's just a little harder than other times. But this is not, I mean, like January was intense, February has been intense. And then we kick March off with this Mercury in retrograde and the Virgo full moon eclipse. All right. So and so I just want you all to really understand that you've been through a lot. You've been through a lot. Give yourself some kudos. If this year has felt challenging, at the end of the day, the astrology is really, really challenging. But what we always want to remember is astrology is working in our favor. And even the most challenging transits that we can experience, it's here to help us be in alignment with our destiny and um, help us to grow in our character and help us to be better people all around. So I just wanted to start out with that. Now let's move on to yes. This is Astrolata's calendar. Just want to make sure I give her credit. And I want to look at what is going to happen in March. There we go. There we go. So everything that's highlighted is astrology that I think is important for the month. So we'll start with the green ones. Those all, and I'm sorry they're so messy, but for whatever reason, the highlighting tool, it won't let me be great. So, I just do my best. So, anywho, the green ones are planets moving into a new sign. So, we'll have Mars move into Pisces. It's the last planet that has moved there that was on March 2nd. And then on Friday, Venus moves into Aries. And then the sun will move into Aries on March 20th. So, Aries energy is already highlighted. And it's just like the end of February when all of the planets left from Capricorn, excuse me, end of January. They all left from Capricorn and went into Aquarius. So Pluto is sitting there in the early degrees of Aquarius. And so that creates a powerful activation because these planets move fast. They'll catch up even with Saturn as it's moving forward. So the first one to go into Aries will be Venus. And so Venus will go across Neptune, which will be on the 7th, the very next day. And then she will go and meet the sun. So yellow in this has to do with the energy of new beginnings. So we had Mars, the sun, Venus, and I'm just going to include Mercury because it was in Capricorn. They all met in Capricorn right around the same time. And then, as the planets were moving forward, a lot of them met with that Pluto right at the same time. Mars is a little slower moving, so he's starting to bring up the rear. And Pisces, they've just all kind of been in Pisces, and there's no outer planet in Pisces. And they've already all been on the same degree. That happened in Capricorn, and that's kicking off building something new. And maybe for some of us, it's about a new career. It all depends on the area of life that Capricorn represents for your sign, but it definitely is all about like this new construct, this new shape that is taking place. So that's not going to happen in Pisces. But once we get to Aries, so we're right here at that energy, March 6th, today is March 5th. Now these planets are starting to interact with outer planets. We have Neptune and Saturn, like I said. And so as these planets get activated, then it's kicking off more new beginnings. And so the thing that I most want you to know is there probably is some ending that you're finding is happening. Like something is coming to an end, and it doesn't necessarily mean anything bad, but it definitely you can feel a chapter closing. And at the same time, there's this new beginnings energy. So Venus will go across Neptune and Saturn. The sun will go across Neptune and Saturn. Eventually, Mars will get there and Mercury, but right now we're just going to see this month the sun and Venus. And so, those begin to kick off new beginnings like in relationships or money. Aries has a lot to do with the body, and so maybe it'll be kicking off something with you regarding your health, your wellness, your fitness, and how you look. Um, Aries is also the identity, so who you are and who you know yourself to be. Is maybe you're gonna experience like this whole new way of understanding yourself, but because Saturn and Neptune have to do with um, the society, something new is kicking off in society. And, in other videos that I've made, I don't know which ones, but this year I mentioned could see a war. And so I was hoping not, but um, hey, I have been humbled. I have been humbled. I have been humbled. And just it's kind of like all I can do is say my prayers, do my part. And I just believe it's a collective effort once we all get it together collectively. Yeah. So here we are. Okay. So Aries is springtime, and we'll really feel the springy energy once the sun gets there. Um, on the 20th, we'll really begin to feel that this new beginnings energy, new things happening. Um, Also, I think that with the Venus meeting the sun, and I mean meeting Neptune and the sun meeting Neptune, and for quite a bit of part of this month, it'll be Pisces. There's this highly creative energy. So make sure that you are tapping and tuning into that highly creative energy. Then at the end of the month, we're gonna have Venus go into Taurus, which is her home sign. Venus rules Taurus. Venus loves being in Taurus. Venus and Taurus, they get along. So once that happens, I love the Taurus energy because it does help us to feel more grounded. Um, it is about simple pleasures. And another thing that's important is getting out into nature. It's very important right now. And so for some people, maybe you want to go to the ocean or to the river. Okay. Other people, if you live near hot springs, that would be great. Or maybe you're going to, have a bonfire outside or something like that. And let's see here. So Taurus is just nature in general. It's just being out in nature, using more natural ways of healing yourself and taking care of yourself. Again, she does have to do with personal finance and self worth and self value. So those topics can come up. And every time we have Taurus season, because the sun, eventually will be there. I always say it's a good time to look at your values, and while Venus is there, there's no better time than to look at what are your values, because that lets you know what you will be focused on. So red. Red means that a planet is going invisible, direct, retrograde. And in this particular case, it's going to be Saturn is going invisible, Jupiter and Mercury retrograde will go direct from being retrograde. So Saturn going invisible, I've talked about this before, it just weakens the ability for Saturn to show up. When planets are retrograde or invisible, I just see it as a time where people can, well, the planets need rest and the planets are slowing down, you know? But it always gives us an opportunity to review and revise some things. Now, Saturn going invisible, it makes us want to focus more internally on the inside. And, it's a karmic planet. It has to do with government and planning and business. To a certain degree, Saturn can be connected to like the father or a male figure, a boss, that kind of thing. And so all of these domains, I don't know if I said career, it's also a career planet. All of these domains of Saturn, discipline, endurance, hard work, when it is invisible, you will have the opportunity to see, how am I doing with my own inner Saturn? How am I doing with the lessons and the teachings of Saturn while it is invisible? Um, on the outer scene, I have to just be honest. It'll sound like no duh, but Saturn does rule government, and so I don't know if it's that the governments will be weaker, because Saturn also rules Aquarius, which is the people. So it may just be sort of a time for the next 2 months, because it won't go direct again until May, where it feels a little bit slower in terms of who is being able to do what. It's a planet that's like get real, and it wants things to be decent and in order. And so the main thing I offer to you is, how can you what do you need to look at when it comes to these topics that Saturn is all about? Um, I just see Saturn as the planet that's sort of like, hey, we need to do this the right way. I'm sure there are people who are Capricorns out there who have done things that are just so wrong and unscrupulous. But in general, most Capricorns, I find, want to do the right thing. They feel bad if they're not doing the right thing. And so that might be something that you'll be thinking about on the inside, because Saturn is like, hey, you get karma, you know, for whatever you did. That's it. I'm just going to dole it out. And another thing that Saturn wants us to do is to be a little bit more reserved with our resources, but with it being invisible, we might have to work super hard on making that happen. Jupiter will go direct. It's been retrograde since 2025, right at the end. So it's going to go direct, and it is in Cancer. So maybe some blessings came back to you, but it's got to cover all these degrees that it already covered. So there still could be something that's coming back to you. It's also perspective. It can give you some perspective. It can help you to forgive. It can help you connect to family. um Saturn in Cancer is blessed. It has to do with home, family, ancestors, and emotions. So could be an emotional healing. It's in Cancer, so maybe some people need to do some self-care and really take care of yourself. It could have something to do with how you're eating, because Cancer is actually an eating sign. I will say Cancer has to do with history. So maybe with Jupiter being there, it'll either get you really excited about your ancestors or just learning history in general. But it's all bringing something back to you. Okay. um, Forgiveness, perspective, and have gratitude. Be grateful. Those are all really good for Jupiter going direct. Then we're going to have Mercury go direct, because Mercury went retrograde on February the 26th. We started this month out with Mercury retrograde full blown. And so, yeah, I've been hearing how Mercury retrograde is giving people a little bit of a run for the money. So, if that's what's happening to you, it's nothing personal. More than one person is experiencing that. So it's going to go direct in Pisces, keeping that watery energy, keeping, with Jupiter being in Cancer and then this Mercury retrograde happening in Pisces, it's all about taking care of ourselves. I think also this can help people with intuition, will feel more intuitive. Um, and once Mercury goes direct, it's all about integrating what came to you during Mercury retrograde. So make sure you're writing down what's happening, and are you having any moments of revelation or ideas that have come back to you that you forgot to act on? Are you tying up loose ends? Because then the 3 weeks after Mercury retrograde, we get to use that time to integrate everything that happened during Mercury retrograde. So then we're having the other yellow transit. So I talked about Venus meeting Neptune and Saturn, and then Mercury is going to conjunct the sun. And with Mercury conjuncting the sun, while it's retrograde, it's kicking off a new cycle, a new 11-month cycle. So whatever you see coming up for you right now with Mercury retrograde, in about 11 months time, you're going to spend this next 11 months working on it. And then next year, it'll feel like, you're caught up in a loop. And now it's like, okay, what else do I need to do about this topic? I thought this was taken care of, but we're definitely kicking off a new 11-month cycle. I was explaining to one of my coachees today that I can see how I'm caught in this loop, because at the end of 24, there was a Mercury retrograde, and my laptop crashed. It was actually Mercury and Mars retrograde. Laptop crashed. I had to go buy a new one. Had to take one that I used to not be able to put any software on and make it so that I could put software on it, but I knew it didn't have enough memory. And then the fall Mercury retrograde, I messed up my astrology software. I could not print reports, and that's the main thing I do with that software. So I had known that I needed to upgrade that software. When my computer crashed, I had known that I needed to be backing it up and trying to clear its memory. I would have my heater on too high. I knew what needed to happen. I didn't do it. Boom, computer crashed, messed up my software, and I had known I needed to upgrade that software. Boom, had to upgrade the software. And so this time I knocked my computer over, and it still works. This is the one with the software. But it's like I can't close my computer. I can't use that computer to travel unless maybe I can get it repaired. It's the body of the computer that's really messed up. And I've been knowing I need to get a new laptop. So I hope that's an example of how you can see this loop. And the lesson I want you to take from it is, when you know there's something that you need to do during Mercury retrograde, go out to the field full as far out as you can to get it done, because it is going to bring it back, and it might bring it back with a vengeance, right? Don't want to sound hyperbolic, but just wanting to impress upon you the importance of looking at what's happening during Mercury retrograde, so that it's wanting us to be more aware. All right. Okay. So we're going to also have Mercury meet Mars, and the sun will, like I had mentioned before, the sun will meet with Neptune and Saturn. So something new is kicking off, and it's sort of like in all directions, because we have the Venus, and we have the sun and Neptune and Saturn and Mercury and Mars. Yeah. And then yes, okay. So it, when I see this much new beginnings energy, what I like to tell people is, it's important for you to be flexible. The goddess that I love talking about, who's flexible, is Oshun. She's very flexible, and she can keep this level of flow that allows her to shift and be ready to change. Whenever it's time for her to be somebody new, act differently, all that kind of good stuff. So that's the thing that I think is most important for March. The eclipse energy. So we had the lunar eclipse in Virgo on March 3rd. That eclipse energy will feel it the entire month. Whatever happened in all of February, I would count that as a part of the eclipse. And so this energy of this specific eclipse will feel it through um, for the next 6 months. Okay. But this is actually an eclipse that's a part of a loop, a cycle that started back around 2014, 2015, 2016. And you can go back to that time and think about what was highlighted for you. I know sometimes it's hard for us to, like go back that far and really remember, but something was highlighted. And this lunar eclipse is like, okay, we're at the full moon part of this 18-year cycle. It's like time to look at where you are and really receive this message. And you have to remember something about the eclipses. They um are here to help keep you in alignment with your destiny. And a lot of times they will bring things that are unexpected. Okay. So we're going to have we've already had that lunar eclipse. And then we're going to have the new moon in Pisces. And so yeah, I'll make a video about that one. We'll talk about it a little bit more. But that new moon in Pisces um is is such a beautiful moon. Okay. It's such a beautiful moon. And it is truly a moon where you can open yourself to receive a miracle, but you also at the same time can get liberated from something. Pisces is actually a difficult sign because it is a sign of surrender. And sometimes, there's a loss of some sort. Um, I'll look at it as a sacrifice. You're being required to give something up. So yeah, but I see Pisces is magical. So I just want to encourage you all to set your intentions and open yourself to the magic of Pisces, the healing of Pisces, and Pisces' ability to connect with spirit. And you imbuing that within yourself or creating that connection. So the last one that I'll mention is Saturn is going to what is called sextile Pluto. Now, why is this one important? It's important because these are very slow outer moving planets. And Pluto is in the house that has to do with technology, and Saturn is in a house that is innovative because Mars is innovative. Aquarius is technology. So, it can bring in some innovative technology. I mean, I have to just be honest, Saturn sextile Pluto. Now, it can definitely bring blessings, but in a way, I look at that like, anywho, let me talk about it on the personal level. It can help you stand in your power and get some really hard things done. It can really help you come up with a plan that you're passionate about, some really good strategy. Um, and it does bring this energy of like support. So this can create support for you, maybe from the community or Mars, I mean, Saturn is in Aries, so it could be like, I'm going to be courageous. One of my favorite Saturnian quotes you could say or mantra is, I can do hard things, but you'll feel supported in doing that. And yeah, so I like that transit. It says the 28th, but let's see here, fam. March, Saturn is at 1 and Pluto is at 4. So we're really going to feel this most of April. It'll happen close to the end of March, and we'll feel this mostly through April. And I really love this. I love the Saturn with the Pluto because Saturn brings solidity, Pluto brings power. And yeah, Saturn brings both of them actually bring a lot of strength, and it's a favorable transit. So I just feel like, yeah, this is going to be working in everyone's favor. Let's look at the reading for this month. So the first card I pulled, I love it, love it, love it. This is called the Maiden of Seas card from Mythical Goddess Tarot, and she is connected to Cancerian energy. So it makes me think this Jupiter is going to be very important. Jupiter in Cancer is going to be very important. Plus, we have all that energy in Pisces. So it says the powerful and abundant heart flow of the Maiden of Seas is sourced in the water of her feelings, totally energized with emotional passion. She holds the passion flower above her head in tribute to her exuberant vitality. She is ecstatic with sexual energy and emotional fertility, all within healthy boundaries. And she's here to the Sea Maiden's full creative flow of passion is yours to experience. So yeah, we may experience passion. I mean, like Jupiter is going to be in um Pisces. So, yeah. And then we have the planets going into Aries. Aries is very passionate. So, you are here to let your ecstatic heart energy regenerate your emotions and your world. And that's not something I talk about a lot, but emotional health and well-being and, being aware of your emotions is key. It's a part of being human, and it's like either emotions are going to is going to really help you or it's not going to help you, right? So, yeah, really, what are some things that you can do to soothe yourself emotionally? And I love the therapeutic ways, right? You can talk to a therapist and, take a route that's more formal. Other things you can do are um, tapping, energy medicine, Reiki, and journaling. I think is a beautiful thing. Move your body. Absolutely move your body, but the emotions, they're very important, they're vital. And this is a time where you really and truly can let go of maybe a stuck emotion, even if it's just one. Maybe you can get in touch with it. All you have to do is watch when you have emotional reactions. And um and 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 even if you don't get rid of it, you just ease it up a little bit, you'll feel a big difference in your body, your mind, and your spirit. It says your passion is the key to let dormant feelings rise from your core into vitality, creating the life that you long for and deserve. I still stand by. I love this card, but I still stand by. If you can rest this month, get as much rest as you can. Interestingly, the second card is a C's card also. It is called the Denial card. And it says here a woman lies trance-like in her Egyptian night boat in a death rite attire. She is shielded from her feelings, numb to her surroundings. I was just talking about this. Seven snakes watch her, alert to her comatose state, ready to initiate her into the next life. And this is a warning card to come alive and feel again. It's time to ask yourself honestly, what are you afraid to heal? And what behaviors are keeping you from facing your true feelings? Now is the time to come out of that trance that keeps you in denial, that leads to your death. Show courage, drop your inner shield so that you may listen to the essential messages your heart must tell you. So I really do think that Jupiter is, and the Pisces, all the Pisces energy is here to help us get more in tune with our inner world, our inner landscape. So I think that emotional well-being will be a bigger theme. Now, this card I really love. It is called it's an earth card, 3 of works, and it has to do with Mars and Capricorn. Now, come on, y'all. Come on. What I'll relate that to is sort of like Saturn meeting that Pluto. Yes, very nice, very nice. A woman dances in balance and beauty, all aspects of her being united and focused. Her thoughts, feelings, and movement are in dynamic equilibrium, a force to be reckoned with. And one of the ways I like to say it is She's congruent. Body, mind, spirit, emotions. She's congruent. She is the complete circuit of heart, mind, and physical body. Her grace and strength exemplify the ease of carrying power in the world and doing the work she came here to do with influence. The Lady of Works dances into your cards to reflect your unified strength of expression. The hard work you have done on all levels is making an impact. Okay. The hard work you have done on all levels is making an impact. Now, the triad aspects of your being, mental, emotional, and physical, are balanced and powerful. Your works on earth are making a difference, sister. Let this image help to keep you on a unified track as you continue moving ahead to your goals. I really love this one. So, what I'll say is that Virgo eclipse is one of those types of moons where it's kind of like, hey, well, really, we're still working with that Aquarius eclipse too. Hey, it's time for you to start making sure you're living in alignment with your calling. And your calling is not necessarily something where, people, everyone in the world has to know, and you got all these followers. Just think about how you feel when you feel aligned. When we feel aligned, it's like there's no time, and there's this inner wellspring. And I would love to hear from you how it feels when you know you're aligned. There's this inner feeling of like joy and contentment, right? So that's the thing that I want us thinking about, like, during this time. Okay. Thank you all so much for being here. I don't know if you have noticed on YouTube, you can hype a video. So you'll be watching this as a replay. When you see that hype option, will you please hype my video? Because that will help me in YouTube for more people to see my videos. But it's just a YouTube game, really, y'all. So I was like, okay, yes, please. Oh, I could do this. Please, by all means, like the video and subscribe. But also hype me. Hype, hype, hype. You know what? I'll be your hype woman. You be my hype woman, and I'm gonna turn some music on as your hype woman for you, okay? But thank y'all so much for being here. And yeah, connect soon. Okay, let me get the music going. Oh, okay. Let's see. Oh, it's starting over. Oh well. Oh, okay. Just I just get the urge a song, and I'm just all into it. So right now I'm just like, oh shoot, oh shoot. I hope y'all are enjoying this.
Great Mother Ocean, bless us with your sweetness, bless us with your power. We honor you.
I hope y'all can hear it. I'm just gonna say thank y'all for being here, just in case you can't hear it, and I have to put the video. May March be a blessing to you and yours. Happy March.
We honor you, ocean. Bless with your boom. My ocean. All praise to ocean. Yeah, 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 yeah. God is so sweet water. My Father from ocean. God is of abundance. God is of love. We honor you, ocean. God is of the river. Your ocean. wash over us all.